Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Chris, aka the IT guy. I'm glad guys you come back to the channel. You know, I'll always show you the cool stuff that you can do to facilitate your work, especially those who are doing PHP programming. Alright, so today I'm going to show you this concept of dynamic dependent dropdown by using Ajax, PHP, MySQL, and PDO. But before I continue, I have to show you the demonstration on what I'm going to do. Sometimes you need to limit the users to choose what you need them to choose in order to avoid a lot of errors. And for example, let me say that I'm having a product and the product has its specific brands and models, so I wanted the users to be selecting the right models and brands for the product. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you, and I'm going to show you on how to achieve this. For example, if I select the product as a laptop, there will be the brands automatically. For example, let me choose Dell. So when there is no model found, you can see that there are no models for the Dell. But when I choose HP, you can see that I have this model as HP ProBook G2640. Okay, and whenever I try to change to smartphone, you can see that all the models or all these selected boxes will be blank, or they will prompt you to choose another thing. For example, if I choose the smartphone and I choose the brand, you can see that I have the Apple, I have the Samsung, the Huawei, and the Oppo. For example, let me choose the Apple, and you can see that I can choose among those one. And whenever I change to Samsung, I can choose other kind of Samsung, and you can see that this is the kind of cool stuff that you can implement on your project whenever you are a student or you are going to implement in the real life project. Okay, enough of talking. I'm going to be coding this, and we'll be coding together. I hope we have fun around. And before we start, you can get this source code on my Patreon page. So before we continue, I'm going to present you the project that I have. I use this database. I created these tables, nothing fancy. I made the table for the products, for the brand, and for the models. And I did this as get product. This is the file that will help us to get the products. This is the file that will help us to get the products when we submit, and there will be this index. But to show you what's going on, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this as a product.html. All right, and as I'm having this image on my computer, I'm going to press enter, and it will bring this boilerplate. So in this case, I'm going to call this, for example, let me call this dynamic as a title. I was having a title as a HANA media shop, but I'm going to call this dynamic. Okay, and after this, we will need to include the CDN for the jQuery and for the Bootstrap, because we will be needing Bootstrap to format our select box to look cool like the one that I showed you in the demo. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the CDN from the other, finish the project, because they are the same. The CDNs that I'm going to copy are these ones, the one from jQuery and the other one from the Bootstrap. Okay, I'm going to copy these to have them on our project so that to be able to implement what you're going to implement. Okay, so this will be like this one. All right, cool. And so let's see, I copied for the Bootstrap, and let me go ahead and copy for the jQuery too. I can see that it didn't come on here, it only picked one. So I'm going to pick the second line, and I'm going to paste it on my product file, and it is an HTML file. We'll change that on to PHP, but because I want the formatting to be automatic, that's why I'm going to leave it as HTML, and I will change it later on. Inside this file, we will need a div for as a container that will contain all things. So I'm going to use class as a container. If you are familiar to Bootstrap, you know what I mean. And after this, I will have another div that will contain the title, and I'm going to give a class of text center. All right, center like this one, and inside here I can put my h4, and I can say dependent drop down using Ajax. I'm going to keep it simple like this one, and once I hit save and I come to my file and I change to product.html like this one, you can see that I'm having this text, and I can go ahead and adjust some margin to have it on where we can see it where I'm going to add a margin of 3. And when I refresh, you can see that it was able to pull this down and it is better represented right now. All right, cool. Okay, so after that, I'm going to make another div, and the div will be for the low. For example, let me say I'm going to make this div as a low class equal to low, and inside this div I'm going to make another div. Then this div will be for the columns, and I'm going to say core md12. Okay, and in here, this is where we're going to insert our select boxes. Okay, so we're having select boxes, 3 select boxes, so I'm going to make them. So before we do that, I'm going to use the div, and this div will be having a class of form group. Okay, and inside this, I'm going to make another select, and it will be product ID. The name will be product ID, and for the ID it will be also to product ID. Okay, and in here I'm going to add the text like select a product. Okay, and you can save. After saving, you can refresh and see if it will come. You can see that it was like this one. It's crazy because we didn't include any option. And here we did the mistake, but we have to insert the option like this one. How did I forget this? We have to put the option like this one, and you can say select a product. Okay, cool. Now it's cool. Okay, when I refresh, you can see that there will be this select box, but it's not looking good. I'm going to try to make it look good, and on here I'm going to add a class of form control. Okay, the bootstrap class for form control. When I refresh, you can see that it is looking good, but it's somehow big. I'm going to limit this. I'm going to add add, for example, let me say, all right, let me leave it like that one. You can mess around because I don't want to waste time. And the other thing that I have to do, I can add a label, and I can say label for product. Okay, and it is for product, and inside the label, that's where I'm going to write the product. Okay, and in this case, when I refresh, I can see that I have the label for the product, and I can be able to choose based on this select box. Okay, so I'm going to be copying this form group, and I'm going to modify a bit of code to facilitate the work, and I'm going to copy this twice. Okay, and here I'm going to choose label for bland, and the other one will be for the model. Okay, after doing this, I can go ahead and refresh. You can see that I'm having 3 select boxes, and what I'm going to mess with is I'm going to mess them with the, what did I do? Here is the product, and here is the brand. Okay, and what I'm going to be messing with is the brand ID. I'm going to call this as brand ID, and for the ID, I'm going to call it as brand ID. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say select a brand, and for here I'm going to say for a model. Okay, and brand, and I'm going to be calling this model ID, and here I'm going to call this model ID. Okay, all right, so now we can see that we are able to add all this kind of stuff. We're able to add these 3 select boxes, and the last thing that we have to insert is the button to submit, which will be in here. I'm going to give you a go like this one, cross to, I'm going to leave it like that one. I'm going to put the margin, for example, margin 3, and I'm going to add the button. Okay, and I'm going to say submit. Okay, and I'm going to give it a cross of let me say it's having a cross of button primary, Okay, like this one. All right, so let's give it a save. It will be like this one. Okay, so now we're going to go to the logic part. And when we select a product on this form control, when we change this on change, we're going to implement on change, and we will be implementing something here. So we're going to see that we're going to say that if it's on change, I'm going to call this fetch. I'm going to fetch the blands. Okay, and this will return the value of this, like this one. Okay, what this means that we are going to implement this function whenever we click on here. Okay, I hope you understand that one. And we need to do these same stuffs on the top select boxes. I'm going to copy from here to here. Okay, and for this one too, we're going to need to use this, and we will be using what we call fetch models. Okay, and we'll be dealing with this, and the way they will be implemented, once this is implemented, this one will be implemented too. So these are the functions that we're going to implement in a bit. Okay, but I hope you are seeing on what I was trying to do. So down here, this is where we are going to start our JavaScript. So I'm going to go ahead and write script, and in here, this is where we are going to start writing our JavaScript. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be doing the function. I'm going to call it these fetch brands, and it will be taking the ID, and after that I'm going to open this and try to implement all other kind of stuffs. Okay, because we will be starting this for the first time, we need to initialize some of the things, and we make them blank so as to be able to ensure that we don't have any remaining data on a select. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to target the first, and it will be the brand. Once I'm going to choose this, the brand will be automatically cleared. So I'm going to say HTML, and I'm going to set it's HTML to blank, like this one. Okay, after doing this, we can go ahead and do on the model too. So I'm going to say, okay, on the model, I want the model to be having this select box. So I'm going to say dot brand on the brand, and here it is brand ID. That's what I called that, the ID that I gave to that. Or if we want to make this very simple, we can go ahead and change for a bit. For example, when I put this as a brand ID, I can go ahead and call this as a brand, and for this I can go ahead and call it as a brand. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do like this to simplify the work. Okay, and I can say, okay, I can leave that like that one. So if I say that brand dot here, it was a brand that I'm going to add some HTML to. So I'm going to say .html, and inside the HTML, this is where I'm going to put some option, and I will say that option, and I'm going to put the option of this one, because we need to say that whenever we initialize, we have to do the brand like this one, and for the model, okay, forgot this one, and for the model it will be set to, so as to avoid some of the errors that can be made while we are dealing with that file. So you have to continue doing this and try to analyze what you need, and after that you will understand what you need to do too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead in the option. I'm going to put select model. Okay, because we'll be on the model, and I'm going to close the option like this. And after doing this, we are now ready to call the Ajax. So in order to submit our work, so we're going to call the Ajax, and we're going to initialize all the stuff that we are having in here. Okay, so to call the Ajax, we use the method that you know of calling the Ajax, the $sign that you're going to use, and after the $sign, you're going to put some other parameters. So the parameters that we need, they will be the where we submit our file, and the file that will be submitted, especially so as to be able to know what to do once we submit our data. Okay, enough of talking. I'm going to go ahead and call the Ajax. So I'm going to go ahead and do like this one, call Ajax. Okay, after calling the Ajax, I can do like this one and open this and close. And in here, this is where we're going to insert our parameters. So we start by specifying now the type of this. The type will be now the post. It will be post. I'm going to say post. Okay, and we do this, and as it will be the post, we have to know the URL of where it will post to. And URL, I'm going to say it will be get data.php. Okay, and after that we need to also specify the data that will be sent. So I'm going to go ahead and say data. It will be equal to I'm going to say okay, product ID, because that's one that we are targeting. And I'm going to say okay, it will be the ID. Okay, the ID that will be in here. Okay, I hope now you are seeing what we are trying to do. And after that, we need to implement the success callback function too. And to do that, I'm going to put the gamma 2 and I'm going to say success. And on success, I'm going to call the function, and this function will be the callback function that will have the data. And inside this function, this is where we're going to write back our data to where they are specified to be written. So I'm going to go ahead and put like this one, because we'll be fetching the model, the blend. We will have to update the blend. Okay, I forgot the double quotes. I'm going to target the blend. Okay, because it will be the div that we are going to target, and I'm going to put .html. And it will append the data that we'll be getting from the from this. Okay, and after we do that, you can go ahead and do like this one and ensure that everything is closed and there is no errors first. All right, cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and implement this getData.php file, because it is the one that will contain all the information that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. I'm going to call this getData.php. Okay, so in this file, I'm going to be implementing other kind of logic that will help us to get the data from the database. And after that, we'll be dealing with also the model that will be displayed on the product. Okay, so before we do that, I have to initialize the first product to be chosen from. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this product to .html to the product.php. So I'm going to go ahead and rename, and on the extension, I'm going to put PHP. Okay, and the way I get the data, I have this app file. It contains this configuration. I have my DB host as localhost. I have the user as root. I have the password as empty, and the database name is dynamic, and I'm having this app name as this one. So whenever I need to connect to this, I have the other class that is called database. This is how I connect to the database, and there will be also other pre-made functions that I use to get data. For example, for the get lows, I have the specific function for that. So whenever you see me using get lows instead of writing the the queries and those kind of stuff that I see many of people use, I have pre-made my get lows here. I can pass the query and the parameters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to include this file into my product file. So to do that, as I'm having this bootstrap as the loader that load all those files, I'm going to include the bootstrap. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and do like this one. You can use any method that you need when you are accessing your data. So if you see that I'm using the different approach, don't get twisted. You can use your methods. Okay, so I'm going to say app, and I'm going to choose bootstrap.php. It will include this file before I do anything. And I can say, okay, products, there will be, I'm going to connect to the database by using this specific method that I was telling you. And I'm going to use get lows. And I'm going to be passing the query in here. Select or from products. Okay. And to check if our query worked the way we need, I'm going to use the var dump, and I'm going to pass in the product, and you can see if to return the associative array. So I'm going to go ahead and on the product.html, I'm going to put product.php, and once I press enter, so let's wait, you can see that it was able to get this associative array from the database. So we are now cool, we are satisfied because we are seeing that we get what we need. Okay, so on the product, after the option of selecting this, you can go ahead and open our PHP to bring the data from the database. And I'm going to say, okay, when I open the PHP, I'm going to say for each, and I'm going to say products, because that is the associative array that we have. And I'm going to say as product, and I'm going to open this. And after this, I'm going to do like this one. And inside here, I'm going to be putting the option. Okay. And inside the option, I'm going to put the value as the value for, I'm going to put PHP echo. I'm going to be calling the product. And I'm going to put the ID because it will be the value that we will be needing in order to perform other operations. So I'm going to do like this and close the PHP. And as I open the loop here, you have to close it too. So I'm going to be echoing the product again here to see the names, because the user will need to see the names. And I'm going to put the name, and I'm going to do like this one. Okay. So as I open it here, I'm going to close it down here. This is the end of the iteration. Okay, I'm going to do like this one, open the PHP again, put the bracket, and do like this one. So for this case, I hope I'm having the, forget to echo. Okay. So for this one, when I try to refresh, you can see that I have, I can select the product as I need. Okay. Cool. Okay, fine. So we are going to move on. As I'm able to select the product as the first initialization, we can go ahead and try to access all other stuff that we need to access, for example, for the blanks and for the models. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back again to that file that I was talking about. This is now the get data file. Here it is. So in here, I'm going to be dealing with this kind of stuff, and as I told you, we'll be needing to include. I'm going to go to the get data, and the first thing that we need to include the. I'm going to open the PHP and close it. I'm going to require once. This file that I was telling you that helped me to load all the modules. It is called app and slash bootstrap.php. Okay, like this one. And once this is loaded, I can go ahead and implement all other kind of stuff. For example, I'm going to listen to the post methods. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to listen for the incoming post method. So I'm going to say if is set, okay, to post. I'm going to use this post, and what it will post is the product ID. Okay, and after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and implement something. So let me see where I messed up. Maybe I missed the bracket here. So I'm going to go ahead and do like this one. So I can go ahead and try to set the, let me say ID. I'm going to set the ID so as to be able to have it very clear. So I'm going to say ID equal to, I'm going to say the ID will be this from post. I'm going to be saying like product ID. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and equal the ID to see if it will come. And so let's go ahead and try to refresh. Open this developer console. I'm going to go ahead and choose the product. For example, let me choose laptop, and we'll see if it will make. Let's see. It's on the network. I'm going to go to clean everything. I'm going to choose the smartphone. You can see that it was able to do the request, and you can see that it was returning the ID as 1. Whenever I choose laptop to do the other request, you can see the ID is 3. Whenever I do for the Wi-Fi router, you can see that it will be 2. All right, cool. And once we get the ID, we can go ahead and select the blends basing on the ID. So I'm going to say like blends equal to, I'm going to use the DB again. I'm going to point to the get laws, because we're going to get all the laws, and I'm going to say that select all from blends where ID where product ID equal to, I'm going to post the placeholder, and I'm going to be putting like this one, and inside here this is where I'm going to put the parameter that it will compare to, and I'm going to do like this one. And again, as this will be a variable, I'm going to be putting like this one. Okay, this will be the brand. So I'm going to go ahead and try to var dump to see if it will catch this. So I'm going to var dump the brands. Okay, and I'm going to do the same. We're going to debug. So I'm going to open this developer console again, and I will be on the network. Whenever I choose smartphone, it will send this data, and you can see that it was able to bring this associative array that contains the data that we need. When I do for the Wi-Fi router, you can see that it was able to bring this. Okay, and on here we are now sure that our things are working the way we expect. So I'm going to continue with other stuff. So for this type, I will have to check one thing. If the brand is not null, okay, I'm going to go ahead and implement something. Okay, because we don't need to be having empty stuffs, and in this case we can do the else too. Can come and do the else statement in here, so as to be able to know that we are now complete with the condition, because we'll be needing to know if there will be these stuffs or not. So if there will be this for the plants, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to echo the other, I'm going to put like this one, I'm going to echo the option stuff here, this one, and to echo select blend. Okay, and I'm going to do like this one and do like this one option. Okay, cool, and I'm going to end the statement right here. So once the blends is not null, I will be the blends are not null, will come with these stuffs, and after that we need to iterate or to iterate through these blends so as to have the individual data. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, for each blend, as I'm going to put blend. So in here, this is where I'm going to echo. Okay, I'm going to echo something. I'm going to say, okay, option. Okay, I'm going to put like this one. So let me use double quotes because we need to use other stuffs in here. So I'm going to put double quotes, and I'm going to put double quotes again because in here we need to put these single quotes, and you concatenate with the value of blend. And I'm going to choose the blend name, okay, like this one. Okay, blend name, and I'm going to do like this one and blend name. Let's see what are we missing. We missed the option, and I'm going to cross the option to option. And let's see where the problem is. We're able to do like brand and name. What did we miss? Echo option, brand name. So let's see. Okay, option. Okay, let's see where. Let's try using single quotes to see if it can help us. So I'm going to be using the single quotes for here, and I'm going to put the value as it will be also the value for this one. So I'm going to be putting, for example, let me say I'm going to be putting the value of this. So I'm going to be concatenating with this. I'm going to put the value as, I'm going to put this one, this to be the bland, and here I'm going to choose the ID because we need this ID too. Okay. After doing this, we can go ahead and once there will be no blands, you can go ahead and choose, for example, and say no blands found. Okay. Then you save. Okay. You are now ready to test if now this is working. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh and choose the smartphone. You can see that I can choose the bland. Okay. So when I choose a Wi-Fi router, you can see that I can choose the bland. When I choose the choose the laptop, I can see that I can be able to toggle the blands too. Okay, this is looking cool. Okay, so we can implement the same logic for the models, and the logic will be the same. What we are going to do, we will copycat this, and in order to do that, I'm going to go back to our product. And on the product, we can go ahead and say, okay, we need the same code for this. I'm going to copy this function, okay? And we're going to modify it for a bit. So I'm going to call this fetch models, okay? And for the fetch models, let's see, what did I do? Fetch models, okay? And in here on the fetch models, we will also need to reset the blands, and we need to reset this. Okay, I'm going to leave this as it is. So in here it will be bland ID. Okay, it will be the ID, and here it will be the model. Okay, hope it will be like this one. So let's go ahead and check if there is no other things, because I'm assuming that we are using the same approach and there is no need to think so too much. I'm going to use this code. So we're going to see if we use the fetch models. Yeah, that's what we used. And the bland, okay, the ID is bland. Okay, for the model, the ID is model. That's where we put our stuffs. And so let's check where. Okay, so as to avoid any kind of errors. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and try to implement this stuff. So to do that, I'm going to go to the get data again, and you can go ahead and say, okay, we're having this is, if we set to this, I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole, and I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to say, okay, if it will be the brand ID, I will choose this as a bland ID. Okay, and for the models, I say, okay, select all from the models where the bland ID. Okay, select model, and for each models as model. Here, so I'm going to be putting model, and I'm going to be putting model name. Okay, no models found. Okay, so I'm going to give you this a save, and I hope I didn't make the models, not brands. Okay, yeah, that's where I messed up. Okay, I'm going to save this and give it a go to see if it can work. So I'm going to go here in smartphone, Samsung. Yeah, okay, you can see that there is a bug in here. Whenever we try to choose here to reset itself, I'm going to see what's why it's doing that. So I'm going to go on smartphone, select brand. After selecting the brand, you can see that I'm having this issue. So I'm going to see where the problem is. So let's check. Let's try to check in the product file. and see where it's making errors. You can see that this is it. This is where it is messing up. Okay, I'm going to save this and refresh. So whenever I choose a smartphone, you can see that I'm having Samsung. Whenever I choose this one, you can see that it will be remaining. Whenever I change, for example, here, so that the here will be changed to. So whenever I choose another one, you can see that it will be also changed. So whenever I do like this one, check this, you can see that there is no models found for the Motorola. And whenever I do the smartphone, you can see for the Apple, I can be able to choose from this drop down. All right. I hope you catch this concept. Yeah, the video was a bit of long, but it's worth it. So I hope you did catch something from here. So let me know in the comment if you met with any problem. If you like this video, show it by pressing the thumbs up. If you come on this channel for the first time and didn't subscribe, because we will be doing a lot of videos like this one. And what I do, I try to explain step by step so as to be able to clarify what you need to know on the concepts like this one. So from now on till next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.